Hey guys, and welcome back to Crazy Gamers Models. How we all doing today? Today I'm just gonna give you a little update on the projects that we have going so far. There's a lot of stuff with reviews and things like that, and I had switched to my studio where I build models. I was originally building models on like a 6x2 table, 6 foot by 2 foot table, and it was just one model was fine, but for this, for the Jagdtiger being 1/16 scale, it just wasn't. There wasn't enough room for the sprues, and then the the actual body itself. I'll show you what I mean. Show you what it looks like. I mean, it takes up the whole area, and this was basically what you see in the camera was my whole build area. So I needed a bigger space, so we moved out into where our laundry is, and there's a nice little area here. So I set up another table that we had and we cleaned off. So now I have a proper setup. And it's where I used to do my airbrushing, and now my airbrushing is right next to my bench, so I don't have to do a bunch of trips back and forth, and I can do things. I can airbrush. I'm working on getting lights on the airbrush and be able to show it on the camera. But here's the engine from that Jagdtiger. As you can see, I'm hoping that the light is a lot better, and you're getting a lot of this detail. I have noticed this is Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black. I put this coat on there, and then I'm going to do the Panzer Gray. But as you notice, I missed some can't talk today. I missed some injection pen marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe that gets covered up and you won't see it. So I may not worry about it, and then I may worry about it. It might bug me, so I might have to fix that, and then just the primer I'm using will cover that. But here's what's going on with this build here. I got this, and then we get this Panther book. We'll get to the Panther in a second. I have here the transmission, the transmission cover, and then I have this set right here, which is 2.5 millimeter nuts and bolts. So as you can see, sorry, it wasn't on camera. Camera's in a new position, so it's taking me a little bit to figure out where it is. So it's got these nuts and bolts. I'm going to use these bolt heads to go across this transmission, as we've talked about in previous videos. These are Squadron Products True Details. These are 1/35th nuts and bolts at 2.5 millimeters. This is another set from them that is supposed to be all 1/16th scale, and the nuts, the bolt heads are exactly the same. They're 2.5 millimeter. So I've already carved one off. I'm trying to do it to where I can take off the flange. These are resin, and they're a little tricky. See if I can get the part out here and show it to you. Let's see here. What can I put it on? Put it on. Oh, that's gray. That's not gonna work. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find something to put it on. But you can see how small this is. You see that? See that little nut right there? That's the size of it. I was having some issues sanding it flat, but I've worked that out. And then basically, It's going to glue on the bottom side. On the bottom side right there. There's going to be 6 going across. So there'll be one there, and then I'll space them out evenly as possible on the transmission, and then I'm going to paint this now there's different ways to paint, different color schemes and whatnot to paint this this Jagdtiger. So this is going to get painted in the Mr. Servicer 1500, and then the Vallejo Gray Panzer Gray, I believe it's called. But it gets shoved in here like this, so I may not even hit it with the Mr. Surfacer. I may just hit it with the Vallejo Surface Primer. So that, and then but if I glue it on together like this, I need to paint this outside here. So if I do all that, then I'll hit it all with Mr. Surfacer. Is I can glue this on like this, and then I can slide this unit on like so. I am currently trying to figure out how to live stream. I want to do a live stream sessions, but I film with the camera. It's 180 degrees out of sync, and I fix that in editing. I don't know if you noticed, there's been a few videos where it's not been in sync. So, and as I forget to roll it 180, I don't know how to do that when I'm streaming live. So the camera would be reversed, and I would have to try to compensate by flipping everything around. But let's take a look at the interior colors box for this MiG that MiG makes for the interior of German tanks from 1939 to 1945. So they're saying to use this bright green on the gearbox. Now, other Tiger books I have, and the Jagdpanther book, it has it. Let's see what the trumpeter call out is on it. It has it white insignia. So H316 is basically the outer color, and there's no color call out for the rest of the transmission. The rest of the gearbox up here, there's no color call out for that. So I'm using these MiG paints, so I'm going to go buy these MiG paints here, and I'm going to use this this acrylic color brush and airbrush bright green, and I'm going to paint the gearbox that color. I'm going to paint, well, this part that color, and then I'm going to do this section German Panzer Gray, maybe. I'll tell you what, you leave a comment in the comments below on what you think I should paint this gearbox, because I'm at that stage where I need to put it together and paint it and get moving on to the wheels and some ammo and some things like that. And I was putting out videos every day, and now I need to get back to doing that. I was not having room before, now I have all the room to do it, so I want to get on that. But that is where the Jagdtiger is. We got engine assembled, primered. It's going to get the next color on it, and then it's going to get weathered. And then but before we do the weathering, we're going to paint up the gearbox and finish the scratch building parts on that. I also found some cool stuff that I want to show you, because I got to make some new gears and levers. I'm gonna find it, guys. Hold on. I'm sorry this video is long, but I found this at the hobby store. I believe it's Michael's. First of all, these are called head pins. Right here. Let me show you what one of these look like if I don't get defeated by a staple again. Let me get one of these out. It is a pen that is, pretty rigid, and it's got a small ball on it. And if you look at the scale of those two, they're exactly the same size. So the levers I need to make, I'm going to make out of these head pins, and that got me thinking on like aircraft knobs and things like that for aircraft. So they didn't have head pins that small, but I got all these little bitty beads that are super tiny. I mean, these are tiny, tiny, and I can glue them on a piece of lead wire or a piece of dead soft copper or brass, and I can have a little lever with a little ball on the end of it. And then I got some different size couplers for clamps on different hosings and whatnot. I'll show you that real quick. Well, these are in little glass jars here. See if I can get one of these out. I'll show you here what I'm talking about. I found these. I thought they were fantastic. But it's just a little capsule that has a hole through it. It's like a little cylinder, but it would be perfect as a hose clamp. I'll give you some dimensions on it. Let me pull out my calipers here. And in that pack, there's 4 different sizes. This one is 3.1 millimeters long by 2.48 millimeters, so 2.5 millimeters in diameter, outside diameter. Let's see what the inner diameter is. 1.8 inner diameter. So, and there's 4, like I said, there's 4 different sizes in here. And this one's 0.8 millimeter, 1.3 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, and this one is 1.8. Must be the internal diameter because that's what we measured that at. So we have little capsules. We have little bitty, teeny tiny knob pieces and whatnot. These are a little bit bigger for like the 1/16 scale. But I think these little plastic crimp beads here will be good for like 1/35th, 1/32nd. Even may work as good as some knobs on 1/48 scale aircraft. Sort of like the instrument knobs and whatnot. Alright, let me get this out of here real quick. And we'll move on to the next topic at hand. This is going to be kind of a long update, giving you an update on where all the projects stand at this moment because of the move and what I have going on. I'm trying to get situated. I had my stuff in 3 different rooms in storage in the garage, and I was fetching things. Now I have everything in reach. So moving on to the Panther, the late model Panther, which is this right here. Not much progress is made on this since the last video. So we have the lower hull with the alterations I made for the transmission to fit. Filled the injector pin marks on it. Cleaned up some stuff on that. I built this section here. This area has been built up. I sanded out the injector pin marks. They were all raised, so I didn't have to fill any on that. And then on the other side, I have placed the Zimmerit on this panel right here. So, as you can imagine, this is going to go on here like so. And that's going to click in, and that clicks in beautifully. I mean, that clicks in just beautifully. So, and it's all going to get painted before it clicks in, and I got to put the torsion bars in first. And of course, the transmission has to go in also. So, that's that section done. And we've seen the transmission. I had to leave that back plate off and stuff like that. That's that part. And then I'm working on the other side. I still have to drill. There's 2 holes I have to drill in here at 1 millimeter. And then there were injector pin marks that I had to take out. This one's a little low, so I'm going to have to fill that. In fact, I'm going to put a little... I'm not going to put a dot on it. I'm going to fill it right now. It's a Mr. Surfacer 500. Sorry, I just noticed that, and if I don't do it, I'll forget, and then it'll bug me like on the Tiger. Let's put some right there. Alright. You don't really have to worry about cleaning the brush when you put it in the Mr. Surfacer again. It'll soften up. So that is where the Panther is. Not a whole lot of photo etch going on that yet. A very important thing on the Panther. Let me show it to you in the instructions here. Is I missed this in the last video here. This piece right here, M30, it's a foot pedal that gets glued in right there. Do not put that on until you get that transmission in, especially with the way they have it glued up. I would recommend gluing this piece, this L11, after the transmission goes in, because trying to muscle that transmission in and making alterations for it to fit, you're going to break that pedal off. So I knew that immediately. That was the first thing I saw that. I said, I'm leaving that off. I put it in my little labels container with my stuff. So I'm leaving that off. So that's very important, I think, is to leave that off. I'm also, I'll put the pedals section. Anything in orange is stuff I haven't done yet, and then I mark it. And then anything in orange is stuff I haven't done yet, and then I mark it with a tab and highlight it in yellow, and then blue is my PE. So that covers the Panther. Now, let me move this Yagged Tiger stuff back to its location. And we'll get out our other project we're working on, which I'm not seeing here. Here it is. Found it. Like I said, still organizing. I am working on this Special Hobby Tempest Mark II high-tech version. Getting this, this will be my first aircraft. So I got this. It was cheap, and it has a bunch of upgrades because the aircraft I'm doing in the future has upgrades. So I basically worked on this a little bit. I got some of the pieces into the hull here. Some PE, a little light thing. I have lost this piece here. The ejector pin marks, I believe, won't be seen. I do believe I have to clean that one right there. But there's some PE in there, and that's about as far as I have gotten on this. Another thing about this Special Hobby kit, which I'll be doing a video on, and possibly someone can help me out in the comments or whatnot, is I'm going to be doing the instrument panel down here in step 9, and it's not a photo etch instrument panel. It's not a photo etch instrument panel. It's the actual instrument panel, and then it has decals to put on, and I'm very intimidated by decals. I have the Salvaset and Salvaset and Salvasol. Not Salvaset. Microsol, Microset. That's what I have. So I'm going to be attempting my decals on this instrument panel because this does not come with the photo etch. So I'm going to be attempting that in the next video for this build. I don't know if I have a video up on this yet. I believe I started one and it went horribly wrong, so I stopped. So I'll make a video on that, and we'll do that. We'll do the decals on there and see how well I do on that, and get some practice. This is the aircraft's going to be like the Berg Panther. It's going to be my practice test bed for my oil washes and things like that, to get familiar with using that on aircraft and things like that. Also, I'm starting to use my airbrush a lot more to do things. I like to brush paint a lot of stuff, but I'm going to start using the airbrush now that I have access to it right next to me and things like that. Oh, and I also got in the 502 aircraft effects oils for weathering. You guys know how much I'm a fan of this oil weathering. This is smoke yellow, faded dark yellow, faded navy blue, faded green, and cream brown. So that's this right here. You got that. And then before I showed you, I have the RAF paints ready to go for the aircraft. They're Vallejo. They're out of reach at the moment. And then for a project for someone that wants me to build something for them, I'm building this. Back this out. I'm building this BF-110E. So that, and he wants it to go with a Spitfire. So we have an Edward Spitfire, and he also wants possibly a BF-109 with an exposed engine. So that's being checked into. And then he wants one of these. He saw me do this unboxing. He originally just wanted the Spitfire and the 110, and then he saw me unbox this Royal Class Tempest 5, and he asked me if he could get the Tempest, the Spitfire, and then I have an Edward Typhoon, all in 48th scale, and then have the two German planes, and he wants to make a diorama. So whether I just build them and he paints them, or he wants the whole thing, I told him it's going to be a huge project, and I'm not ready to start something like that because I have some other stuff I want to get done. But this is not going to be put on the front burner. The Jagdtiger is the main thing that's going to be working on, so that's going to start back up. We're going to get building on that, and then I'm going to build this test plane, this Tempest Mark II high-tech version. I'm going to build that up and use it as a test bed. Then we'll start building some of this other aircraft and things like that. And then remember, the Panther that's being built is a restored Panther. So it's not going to have a lot of weathering. It's going to have some dust effects and things like that, but it's not going to have a huge amount of weathering and stuff on it. It's just going to have it's basically restored from the Wheatcroft collection is what I'm going to be working on. So that is going to wrap it up, I believe, for the updates of what's going on. I'm using a new microphone. I hope it doesn't sound bad. Let me know if it's too close, too far away, it sounds low, sounds high. Your feedback is much appreciated. I appreciate it. If you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, because I'm constantly doing something model making related, or reviewing a kit, or looking at different techniques I'm trying to learn. You can learn along with me. Also, I have set up a Patreon page. The link will be in the description below. You can visit it, as you please. I'm not expecting anybody to do anything. If I get some people on there, I'll start giving away. I have a lot of Warhammer miniatures that I have built with magnets, and I'll give away prizes on there. Magnetized Marine. with all the options, or you get some Electro Priest, or a small kill team, some quarter of a kill team. I can't paint them. I'm not a very good miniature painter, but I will build them up real nice, and then all they would need to be is painted, and I'll give those away to any Patreon supporters, after we get some set up on that. So that's going to do it for this, and I hope you guys have a great day. This is Crazy Gamer signing out. Thank you.